What is up, YouTube?
Yeah.
My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second, hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily, and of course, hop in the Discord. Link for that's in the description box down below.
Yes, as you can see at the bottom right of our screen, Happy Easter to everybody out there celebrates it. Today, I hope everyone had a great time with their family and friends and loved ones. As you can see, Dak there spending Good Friday with his newborn baby in the air, private jet there. So we'll talk about a lot of things you're seeing here. Jerry, is he crying wolf about the money he's got, for the cap and the look? We'll talk about that. Zeke, are we going to reconnect with the old Zeke?
MCW Nostradamus.
And also, of course, Mazi and his weight situation, along with rookie stuff, top 30 visits, and much, much more here in My Cowboys Family. So as we get rolling, and by the way, not only wrapping up this month, we're also wrapping up this week. And we got some crowns to give out, some champions to win. And we'll see what happens and who wins these things by the end of tonight's stream. But let's start it off with shouting out the man with the dropping the love last week, champion of as you can see up atop, the Cash App King McLovin, but even more important, staying on screen the whole week as our sponsor of the week. It's Mr. McLovin. Woo. Appreciate it. Now he's a Dolphin fan, but he is an MCF family member here. Much love to McLovin, and especially in the After Dark sessions, which is also an extension of this channel. So thank you, McLovin. Appreciate you. And no matter what you think about your Dolphins, still go Cowboys. But hey, appreciate the love here. And same thing with Mr. Lavelle, who's a Dallas Cowboy fan, a silver level member, which, by the way, is tonight's shout-outs. We didn't do a Friday or Saturday show, so we get them Friday shout-outs coming for the silver level crew, too. But a Lavelle, silver level member, a world record holder here on the length of time or total time of being a member in the membership. Yes, Mr. Lavelle is like 45 months in this thing. So 29 points, though, for him on the Stream Boss. Not far away from being, possibly someone replacing him before the end of the night. And then you'll see his name scroll above. It comes to the membership gifting portion of our channel. And the king of that is the man who stays skeptical fan.
Ooh, shout out to you, Skeptical. Appreciate you, of course.
He had dropped 3 of them. It was enough to beat out others last week with 3. He is the champion. But who's the champion this week? Right now, Skeptical fan dropped 1, and he is currently in the lead and winning in that battle, trying to go back-to-back like our 90s Cowboys. And, of course, when you look at the Cash App side and the overall board side, you might have seen his name go by there already. In first place still, holding strong, I think, the entire week, basically. Harley Dad, a Niners fan here. We got fans from all over here in the family. F the Niners, but much love to Harley Dad. And, hey, I know he don't like the Cowboys, but he likes the MCF family. So I appreciate Harley Dad, the support here in After Darks on the After Dark side of things. So appreciate Harley Dad and the love given this week, this month for the channel. So appreciate him and everybody else on the board. Because again, like I said, McLovin is right behind him. Dead Fool is right behind him. Many others on this list. A couple of star level members as well. Speaking of, how do we, closing out the week, people want to give love, drop a little love, donate, whatever. Ways of doing that, of course, Super Chat. As you see pre-stream, Mr. Dwayne Broussard, much love. Woo. With that Dak drop, a $4 holler, and that Go Cowboys.
Always Go Cowboys. Thank you so much, Dwayne. Appreciate you.
The top dog in the house. Appreciate him. A star level member as well. And, you have other ways of getting in things here, whether it's jumping in the membership, whether it is giving a thanks drop through the thanks button when any video posted, short posted, live stream posted, you can drop love through there. That counts on the board overall. And gifting memberships. That's a biggie right there. Like I said, it's only right now the leader is 1. So if you gift 2, you actually can win the board this week on the gifting side of things, which is a great way to give love to the channel, but also somebody who doesn't have a membership in the chat. So there's a couple different ways. But then there's 4 other ways of doing this, which has been the After Dark specials. And Harley Dad and McLovin and Ted Fool, these guys running the show over there. I also got to shout out some others who used this path, right, of drops of love, which maybe you're going to say in a minute. Got to give big shout outs to Marissa, star level member in the After Dark session. Got to give big shout outs to Smokey. We all know Smokey out there. Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. Much love to him as well in the Cash App. Same thing with Smokey in the Cash App. Grateful Nomad. Appreciate her and her hip-hop knowledge. She has definitely moved up, though. I think she's fifth on the board, fourth on the board right there. She is fourth. Grateful Nomad at the top of this thing here. Appreciate her with some drops in the Cash App. And then we had some PayPal drops from, of course, McLovin and Deadfool. So appreciate all you guys along with the super chat from Dwayne Broussard. But baby, the other 4 ways to challenge, not just the overall board, but specifically the Cash App side, how can people do that?
Of course you have the Cash App # MyCowboysFamily, the Venmo @ My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and last but not least, of course, that Streamlabs link lets your comment show up on screen just like a super chat.
Yes. And as you know, even though it's not Friday, it's a Sunday, technically a Monday, I guess, if we coast you're in. But the thing is, we want to always shout out, let me fix this, we always shout out not just the star and over everything level members, which we do on the nightly, but we also shout out the silver level membership as well here at MCF every Friday. Now, we didn't have a Friday stream, so we go right to tonight to do the shout outs in the silver level, the star level, and the over everything level, which we're going to start with Prince Jackson.
Woo!
And A. Lavelle. Much love to you guys. And the rest are in the star, which is Marissa Sparkle, Mary Alvarez, Skeptical fan, always staying skeptical. The top dog, Dwayne Broussard, Dead Lunatic, Andy Potched, Jason Renfro, and of course, LC in the place to be. Everybody on there. Now, over everything, I know with Seabass, he kind of fell out of that. So if he gets back in time, he will be eligible for what we always say here is something to always keep an eye on, which is our monthly raffle. Now, today's the last day of the month, but we have to do the monthly raffle for the month of March. There's a reason why I had to wait, and I'll explain in a minute. Tomorrow or Tuesday, whenever we go live again, probably tomorrow, star level and over everything, the monthly jersey raffle is going to be happening tomorrow. So if you're in the star level, any of those names you heard outside of the silver crew, star level and the over everything level, which right now there's nobody in there. Everybody there gets 2 raffle entries in the over everything. You'll be eligible to get a chance to win one of these sewn and stitched jerseys, Cowboy Mosh style. There's 40 different Cowboy players to choose from, new and old players, different styles of the decades of the teams. And of course, if you're from other teams, like Harley Dad, who looks like he may win this week and be entered into this raffle. Like we had, McLovin, who's a Dolphin fan, who is in this raffle. Jeremy Bramlett, who's a Cowboy fan, entered in this raffle. And Deadfool also, I'm not sure which team he's a fan of, but he's also in this raffle. Those are looking like our 4 weekly winners to get a bonus entry. So not just the star and over everything level members, but also the big weekly winners. Hey, these guys I just shout out also won the Cash App size as well. So they double it up. They just basically took any chance of anybody else winning any of the weekly winner awards for this specific raffle. We'll be throwing in different names at times on other of our winning boards if they haven't won or it's been a while. We throw them in if they won. Let's say the gifting board. Yeah. Let's say it's a big win in the gifting board. Boom, you're entered. But again, if it's 3 gifted memberships or 1, that's still a smaller board compared to the Cash App and the sponsor of the week. Those are the ones that get put in here, and it's been doubled up pretty much every week. So appreciate you 4 guys. Harley Dad looks like our 4th. That'll be added with the other, I think 8 people right now in the star level, and then there's nobody in the over everything. So that's what it looks like for tomorrow's raffle right here, my Cowboys family. Good luck to all, and we'll see what happens. As you can see, we're here with our cardboard. We're moving cardboard cutouts, baby. Let's do the shout outs of those in the house tonight. Repping that star over everything here for some Cowboy news, info, and updates.
Thank you very much to Bruce Got the Toxic Juice representing. Even you, Leaside Herald. Lost in Translation Podcast, much love. The man himself, C. Bass. You already know. And B, shout out to you. And by the way, yes, a happy Easter to everyone here. Hope everyone had a wonderful, happy, egg-filled Sunday with family, friends, and loved ones.
Yes, guys, a very happy Easter to everybody who celebrates it and for the whole day, relaxing, chilling in this weekend.
So we have JP, hello and hi, much love. Tinsley King, shout out to you. Spoony Dog, much love. Daniel Berry Sports, hello and hi. Matt Persico representing. Mike Aldana, happy Easter to you as well, of course. The top dog, Dwayne Broussard.
Yeah, DB.
Madman, hey, we had our doubts too there for a second, but I guess dreams do come true. Freedom First, I think he was first. Good for you, man. So, with that, of course, I'll keep shouting out people as they keep trickling in. But, baby, let's get to it.
Let's get going. And again, like I said, you said, we said in the chat, everybody in the chat, a very happy Easter to those who celebrate it. Let's go back to Friday for a second. We didn't go live Friday, but if you look at this picture, on the right side, it is Dak Prescott with his like a baby mama, I guess. I don't know, but his girl, Sarah Jane, she posted this.
Baby mama has a different connotation.
Okay, this is woman, all right? Yes. They're not married, but the point is that it's the mother of his child.
His girl.
All right? Sarah Jane, will it be Prescott one day? We'll see. But she posted on Instagram, Happy Good Friday, feeling so blessed with this beautiful family of mine. It's that picture, right? You see right there, guys, on the right. They're in the air. I mean, it's like over the clouds. Dak sleeping with his baby girl there, passed out in a plane, personal, private plane. It must be nice.
Yeah,
so
the newborn is much more well-traveled than any of us here.
Already, right? So, again, congrats to Dak again, and happy. He was doing Good Friday in the skies, but Easter and all. So moving on now, let's talk about something not so fun for an Easter Day issue, and that's Rashid Rice. Now we're going NFL news, but Rashid Rice from the Kansas City Chiefs, their wide receiver, suspected in connection with a 6-vehicle crash in Dallas. It's crazy if you saw the video. It wasn't like it was like it was scary, like if you're obviously driving, but it wasn't like a car flipped or anything. It just kind of skidded out, hit a bunch of other cars, and they all kind of rolled to the side of the road. But obviously, it could have been very dangerous, life at risk there possibly. A vehicle that is believed to be registered or leased to Rashid Rice was involved in a crash on the 6600 block of North Central Expressway at about 6:20 p.m. I think this was yesterday. Law enforcement officials said the police are looking for Rashid Rice, and the call sheet confirmed that law enforcement was searching for him in connection with this accident. His alleged involvement in this crash is unclear. Dallas police spokeswoman Christian Lohman said that investigation at this point determined that a driver in a Chevrolet Corvette, I think it was a black vehicle, so was the other vehicle black, which is a driver in a Lamborghini, a black Lamborghini also. Both were speeding at a high rate of speed in the far left lane near University Boulevard. They both lost control almost the same time of their vehicles, and the occupants of both the Lamborghini and the Corvette ran from the crash without stopping to see if anyone needed any medical help or providing any.
Not a good look.
They didn't provide no information of who they were. Police also said that they listed him as the driver of the Corvette. So again, that's where Rice was driving there, supposedly. Spokespeople for the Kansas City Chiefs have not responded, even though there's been multiple requests. By the way, I also heard, there's pictures of him and 3 other guys, his friends, kind of walking nervously away from the crash. You can see their faces plain as day. And
damn.
Supposedly they reached into the backseat of their car of one of them. Obviously both of them were together, the Lamborghini and the Corvette, but they knew each other. But
there you go. Failure to render aid. Thank you, Mike Aldana. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of implications.
Issue going on. Nobody was in. No, there was one injury. It was a minor. They were just checked in at the hospital. But still, nonetheless, the woman said that she was with her 6-year-old child. I mean, that could have been death for both of them. So
the whole point is that just because someone thankfully wasn't seriously hurt doesn't mean that what they did wasn't
okay or isn't
negligence to a higher degree.
Yeah, it doesn't deserve some kind of punishment, which he definitely does. So there was somebody.
Not a great look.
Again, to me, guys, the reason why he left the scene, to avoid a DUI. That's what you people usually do. When you leave a scene like that, you'll take the other hit. You hope no one died. You take the other hit, but you don't want to be DUI'd. So there won't be any proof of that by the time it'll be out of his system by the time they catch up with him. So we'll hear more of this. I'm sure. I did hear, like I said, that these men that got out the car along with Rashid Rice went to the trunks of their vehicles and pulled out supposedly a bag of guns. Who knows? It's just who knows? It could have been people said drugs and guns. Who knows, really? But the point is, it's not a good look for Rashid Rice, and he's going to be dealing with some issues here going forward. So I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on this. Maybe knows more about it than I do.
Could have done it literally in any other city, but lost in translation setting. Hit and run, and it's just that's sad. Yeah, and not just sad, but again, disgraceful. Very thankful that no one seems to have been seriously hurt, and that this wasn't a worse situation discussion that we're having currently.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Thank goodness for that. Thank goodness. Niche their miracle. Anyways, now I want to go back because Brandon J, a couple nights ago when we were live last, talked about international player, rugby player, now was signed with the Chiefs. That is correct and accurate. I want to make sure I get the info right because remember, I talked about this last week. There was the IPPP, the International Pathway Program Pro Day, and that involved a lot of players from all over the world doing a pro day and doing the drills and stuff. So Welsh rugby star Louis Rees-Zammit signed a 3-year deal with again, this is a 3-year deal like we had with Alarcon. Remember, you get 3 years with this player. If you choose a player, it looks like they opened it up to the league now to choose whoever you want rather than get a division assigned. Sounds like everybody can get an international player exemption. The Chiefs went and got, this rugby star, again, a receiver running back type guy, probably a returner as well. Signed a 3-year contract with the Chiefs that includes some guaranteed money and also a signing bonus. So definitely showed improve right there. And he did his thing. Now, the International Player Pathway Program, which had this participant, this Welsh rugby star, signed with the Chiefs, he had trained for 10 weeks at IMG Academy. That's that college. He went up against a fake school, remember? But IMG is one of those independent colleges, and he was very impressive at the pro day. That's the word. Took team visits. He lands in Kansas City. Congrats to him, right?
To me, the transition from rugby to football seems relatively natural in the sense of guys tend to fundamentally already have a lot of the skills that you might be looking for at certain positions, right?
Yeah.
So,
and if they're smaller like he is, and he's not that big of a guy, using for speed and his quickness.
Yeah.
And that's what he can do on returns, kickoff, punt returns, and also some hybrid like receiver running back kind of move. So we'll see how he does there. Again, good player to lock up. You never know when you need, get a guy like that. You can use him in certain places. And as well as the new kickoff rule. And it improves his value. We'll see what happens. Now the Dolphins, we talked about Raheem Mostert, and I was really saying, I don't know if I actually spoke about this, but he was a guy I had spoken about, and I think we had said he had signed with the Dolphins. He agreed to a 2-year deal worth a hair over $9 million, $9.075 million max. So at most, he's going to get $4.5 million if he hits all his incentives.
Yeah.
Probably won't do that per year. So that's not a lot of money to extend Raheem Mostert, a good power running back. That I would love the Cowboys to have someone like him, and maybe a little injury prone, but one of the most productive running backs in the NFL right now gets rewarded at age 31. He is the leader in touchdowns for the Dolphins in their history in a season, so they wanted to keep him around. Linebacker, who is comparable to Edgerrin Cooper from Texas A&M, a guy that the Cowboys may like in the second round at linebacker. Jaguars now linebacker Foye Oluokun. He got an extension from Jacksonville. It's going to be a 4-year, $45 million deal extension. With a max value, it goes up to $48 million. It includes $22.5 guaranteed at signing. So, and I know some people have talked about maybe picking him up as a guy for the Cowboys. We know the Joneses won't spend that money. But what I'm trying to say is that, he's a solid, really good all-around kind of off-ball linebacker kind of guy. And, that's Edgerrin Cooper from Texas A&M. I keep saying Copper. Edgerrin Cooper from Texas A&M. Is a comparable to this guy, to Foye Oluokun. I can't say his name. So anyway, just a little about now. One last thing before I get to an Eagles trade that went down. The Lions. So they gave their tight end, one of their tight ends, Brock Wright, who's a key part of their offense. You got to remember, he's kind of like a blocking, kind of like a Luke Schoonmaker a little bit like, right? A key part of their offense in the running game. So he's a run blocker at tight end. They decided to give him a 1-year, $2.985 million. So basically a 1-year, $3 million original round restricted free agent tender. What does that mean, original round? Original round restricted free agent tender, which means they lock him up for this minimum of $3 million. But now any team now can offer him whatever they want. And you get a draft pick for this in time, right? Sometimes. But this is called an original round. You know what round he was picked in? None. He was undrafted. So the Lions would not get any pick back if they lose him, right? If someone makes an offer to Brock Wright, a blocking tight end, that 1 year, $3 million deal is, forget about it from the Lions. He's going to get that no matter what. But if someone gives him a $4 million deal, then they have to match it. If they don't get. Usually, you get a draft pick for this kind of tender. This case, because he was undrafted, there is no tender. Okay. There is a tender. There is no return pick because it's on the original round, and he wasn't drafted in the round. So that was like yesterday. Today, new update: the Niners. These teams that don't have any money left.
Yeah.
The 49ers decided to sign the Lions restricted free agent tight end Brock Wright to a 3-year, $12 million offer sheet. It includes $6 million of that guaranteed. So Detroit, again, tendering Wright with that 1 year, $2.985 million offer, has 5 days to determine whether to match San Francisco's offer sheet or they will lose. They called a very, very valuable run-blocking tight end, and they don't get back any compensation. So, the Niners went all in on a run-blocking tight end, a proven guy. 3 years, $12 million, so $4 million a year. That's a lot, but he's a blocking tight end. Would you rather have done it that way, guys, or would you rather have wasted your second-round pick on Luke Schoonmaker? That's kind of what you're getting. So I rather would have wasted it on. I would have rather saved that draft pick, used it on a guard that we could have gotten last year, like Osiris Torrance, and now we could have made a move for a $4 million blocking tight end. You know what I mean?
You feel me? A good argument there, but
the Joneses, they do it their way. It's draft, and they don't even care. So that's the way they do it. But anyways, this is what the Niners are doing. Hence why maybe they always back up at the top of the fucking NFC, because they do good front office movement. The Eagles do as well. So again, we'll see what happens. Will the Lions match this or not? Well, I don't know. They don't get anything back if they don't match him. And then this Brock guy, they have to give him at least $4 million or a year, or else he's going to San Francisco. The Niners drafted a blocking tight end, but not in the second round like us, in the third round last year. And that player was chosen about 100 spots early than most people thought he should have been drafted. So the Niners went all in on a blocking tight end, but they didn't even go as dumb as the Cowboys and go second round. They went third round at least. A very early pick to take that kind of player, and they also doubled down now with trying to get another run-blocking tight end. If you guys think about it, what do you think they're trying to do? They're not going to let it go on Purdy's back. They're going to run the goddamn ball until you get tired and can't breathe. And that's the way they run it. And so they're going to try to get two run-blocking tight ends.
As well of helping Purdy.
And then you got Kittle too. You got a great blocking tight end, Kittle, who also could catch. Their tight ends are set if they get this guy as well. I'm just saying, they're set.
And honestly, for a pretty reasonable deal.
Smart movement. Smart moves by the front office. That's all I'm gonna leave it at that. We talked about the Eagles with some smart moves in the past and Howie Roseman. Got to give credit to the Niners. And some of them, of course, you don't get everything great.
Look, there's
but
a
they
reason.
Make some moves.
Again,
they're aggressive.
The Eagles and the Niners, there's a reason that they have, for the last handful of years, been consistently appearing in the mix of teams appearing in the Super Bowl, trying to fight it out for a Super Bowl in a more serious way. A big part of that are the front office moves.
Yep.
Let's be real.
And our guy...
You can sit there and try to say, I hate these teams or whatever, but really we're saying here a little salty because we wish our team would make those types of moves.
Hold on. I understand what you're saying.
In the sense of the way that their front offices are managing things.
I hate these teams because they're the Niners and the Eagles, but I also... I'm jealous, or not jealous, but I'm pissed that our front office is so fucking bad. When you compare it to, when it comes to aggressiveness and taking some risks to win, we are pussies in this. It's the way it is. And yes, we're over the fucking 10-minute mark. So, look, the Niners, they drafted a blocking tight end early, and that was round 3. We drafted a blocking tight end early, and we went round 2. The fact that they're now going to try to pay $4 million a year for a blocking tight end like Brock Wright is interesting to me, in that they are really focusing on running that ball and just letting Purdy just manage, and they're going to run, and wear you down.
Again, but you know what?
Ways.
That just shows me, again, they are heavily investing in the current strategy that they have, whether it's
they're trying to go to the Super Bowl again and win.
Whether it's the greatest thing ever, no. But they are, doubling down on the things that they have.
And that's the Niners who've made more mistakes, I think. Not more. The Niners are aggressive. The Rams are aggressive. The Rams hit the Super Bowl twice in 6 years? 5 years? They won one. saying it's worth the aggressiveness.
That's not even
That's
counting
two different
all the
teams.
NFC or AFC appearances.
The
Championship.
conference championships, yeah. And then on top of that, you got the fucking. I hate the Eagles. Fuck the Eagles. Fuck Philly.
Eagles.
But Howie Roseman, that front office, still do a damn good job because, listen, I'm not saying I love this. This is not necessarily a great deal for them. They're losing one of their best pass rushers, Hassan Reddick. Yesterday, the Eagles sent one of the better edge rushers in the league, Hassan Reddick, to the New York Jets for a conditional 2026 third-round pick. That could turn into a second-round pick. And I'll explain in a minute. But the point is, the Eagles had already 4 or 5 good pass rushers on this team. They were trying to trade Hassan Reddick. And who else was the other guy? They were trying to trade two guys. And they got Hassan Reddick out because they're willing to move on from their best pass rusher to let these other very good pass rushers take that. Not just we're hoping like Sam Williams. They got good pass rushers already in place that are ready to just go in there and take over. So the 2026, now it's not 2025 now. We're talking about 2020. That's 2 years down the road as far as drafts. So that's way down. 2026 pick becomes a second-round pick for the Eagles if Reddick has 67.5% play time this year and has 10 or more sacks. So he will have to be a monster for the Jets. For the Eagles to get a second-round pick. So we don't want him doing that great over there. Hassan Reddick, hopefully don't play over 67% of the time, and hopefully doesn't have 10 or more sacks. If he has to get both of those for that trade, for that pick to go up to the second round for the Eagles.
That condition to get traded.
Yeah. So, anyways, the point is, if that doesn't happen, it stays as a third-round pick for the Eagles. Now, the Jets are going to also take on. What about the salary cap? He's getting paid. The Jets are taking on the $14.5 million portion of Hassan Reddick's comp for 2024, which is also the final deal of his contract. That's why the Eagles want to get out of this. They're trading a guy who has high value, a high contract, and the Jets are paying for the contract. That's why they only got a third with a possible second. Could have got more for such a good pass rusher, right? But it was the money connected that the Jets are paying. The Eagles don't want to pay the hit there. So the Eagles will pay the $1 million roster bonus that was due earlier this month. That goes on the Eagles side, but the other 14.5 goes to the Jets. The hope is that that Hassan Reddick and the Jets are going to work out a long-term deal. That's the prediction, of course, going forward. Or else the Jets wouldn't have made this deal. Jets also giving this future third conditional round pick for Reddick. They were also on the Jadeveon Clowney free agent signing kind of boat, and they missed it. He went to the Panthers, Jadeveon Clowney. So when that happened, the Jets turned their attention to maybe trading to the Eagles for Hassan Reddick, and that's what they did. If the Jets do not extend him, then obviously his final year, he goes into free agency. The Jets would get a comp pick, not the Eagles. The Jets would probably get a third-round comp pick. So they're giving up a third-rounder, but they're getting back a third-rounder. Smart move by the Jets. Fuck Philly. You know what I mean? But the Eagles did what they had to do to get out from that cap hit, and they have enough big enough names at the edge that they can still fill them in there, right? So good for both.
Honestly,
good for both sides, I think. The Jets, I think, got a great player in Hassan Reddick for 1 year rental. You can sign him and extend him, but if he goes somewhere else, you get a third-round pick back. I mean, you really can't. I mean, he's going to sign. You get at least a fourth-round pick. So you go back a round and a half. If you get back the comp pick, you go back a half a round, or you go back to the end of the round. That's not that bad for getting a 1 year rental on a guy like Hassan Reddick. So I like the Jets making the move and the way they structured it. The Eagles, they had to get rid of him, but they made the best they could with that. That's why Howie Roseman still gets credit. At least for me, he does. So, again, over the last 5 years, Hassan Reddick is tied for the 5th most sacks in the NFL. He was with the Panthers before that, and he was another underrated pass rusher like Burns was, right, for Brian Burns from them. The Jets lost Bryce Huff to the Eagles, who was their main pass rusher. They replaced him with Hassan Reddick, who's probably better. So interesting there. The Eagles, I will say this. Let's go back to the Eagles for a quick second. The Eagles will now be without Hassan. Of course, we know offensive lineman Jason Kelsey, center. But on defense, they'll be without Hassan Reddick and Fletcher Cox this year. He's retired. So a big decrease there. Even though they have guys that are good that can come in there, still a downgrade in some ways.
Yeah,
although
hard not to have that big downgrade.
Yeah, so Howie Roseman is far from infallible, far from, he makes mistakes with the Eagles. And he'll make more. But here's the difference between Howie Roseman and their front office and the Cowboys' shitty front office. You have to be impressed or jealous by the way the Eagles are always, not necessarily the guys they get, it's more about they take chances on winning. The Eagles are close, the Niners are close, they take chances to up it. We go backwards. So this front office goes backwards. They also, like the Eagles specifically and the Rams, similarly, the Chiefs as well, currently, somehow still take swings and hit and swing for the fences, right? They go for it all. They go, quote unquote, all in. They spend a little money and they, over maybe they should, but they know they got to pay for it later. But they take the chances and they stay relevant now. They stay winning now. And they still stay relevant and winning for the future. Why are the Cowboys in this situation? Or why do they say we're in this situation? Because they're bullshitting you. I'm telling you this. So, again, what I'm saying is this. If you don't see the fact that these other teams, like the Rams, the Niners, the Eagles, they are helping themselves now and also spending money and being aggressive and still not killing themselves for the future, then the Cowboys should be able to do something similar. They don't. They won't. They refuse. And that's what you got to be jealous of. If you're not jealous or want that, then you're lying, I think, to yourself. Because I want that to be the Cowboys working that way. I don't want the Eagles or the Niners or any of these other fucking teams. I want the Cowboys to do something similar and let's stay in the running and then stay in the running in the future. You can do both. If Cowboys want to sell you this other bullshit, why do they want to sell you this? Because it's Jerry Jones's brainchild. It's Stephen Jones's brainchild. They want to win their way or they would rather lose. And that's where we're at right now, in my humble opinion. So that's my little 2 cents on the front. Well, I'll get more on the cheap Jerry Jones front office a little bit later in this stream. But that's the NFL news portion of things. Any quick comments maybe by the family or by yourself on things?
I mean, again, it is just frustrating, once again, to see the people you hate living out your best dreams in the sense that how is it that the Eagles managed to pay not one but two major quarterback contracts in the last 7-8 years, right?
Made 2 Super Bowls, won one, and stayed relevant all these years.
So, again, what is our excuse for doing less with the same money?
Simple. It's not an excuse. It's a fact. Jerry and Stephen Jones, they're fucking clowns.
So,
in general, they might get lucky and make a good move here and there, but they're still, overall, they're clowns.
I'll even pose a somewhat similar question to the Niners, because if you don't recall, remember, they paid Garoppolo. they did pay him. Yeah. So
they had
they
3
stumbled
top quarterbacks
into Brock Purdy.
Yep.
But even before that, they were still somehow, even with all their problems, staying somewhat consistent.
But what are they doing, though? They worked on their defense, right? Through draft and paying money. They worked on their offensive line to draft and paying money. They had a game manager in Purdy, and they worked on getting on Purdy's cheap contract right now. They got McCaffrey, signing Deebo Samuel. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like they're doing shit when it's cheap for the quarterback. Cowboys, they said, "No, we can't do this." First it was Romo Dez, then it was no more Romo Dez, and it was like, well, it's the future contracts of Zeke and Dak, which is all not their fault. It's the front office fault. They fucked up and not doing the things they should have done when they had the chances, and they'll do it again with the next guy that's cheap for us. Exactly. The next quarterback that's cheap comes in, we won't spend the money. We won't go all in. We'll just have him do it, put it on his shoulders, and he fails in 2 or 3 years. Then we got to sign him the big money, though. And then we paying that into that. And then they're going to blame the player, not the organization. It's the organization. It's the GM specifically. It's not that beautiful star. It's the GM underneath that star.
And look,
Jerry and Stephen Jones.
And the final thing I will personally say is Jerry can sit there and say that, oh, we don't need all that pizzazz, all the flashiness. We don't need this, that, or the other. But again, why is it that the teams that are consistently staying in the mix are doing all the this and the that and the other?
They're doing the same. They're spending money and they're still not killing themselves for the future. By the way, Stephen White, the pie is a lie. You know it. What is his family saying about this?
So, yeah, of course. Stephen White said Stephen's pyramid will be bigger than Jerry's. So,
unfortunately.
Let me see.
It's true.
The pie is a lie. You know it.
It is.
Stephen White said $95 million financial ghost.
Yeah.
Oh, just going. Jadis Young said, all in my ass.
Yep, we're all out.
So, Bobby Botto said, Clowney doesn't care about winning. The man just wants to get paid.
Yep.
With as much talent as he has, it's no way he should be playing for Carolina. # chasing the bag. And hey, you know what? In an NFL league where winning is so hard to do, and there is never a guarantee of winning, but hey, you know what you can guarantee? Your paycheck. So, you know, it's... I don't necessarily blame any players for choosing that over, again, the chance to win, especially someone in his position, right? So, by the way, this comment is just really funny because Mike Aldana said, FCF is in the middle making a really valid point, and then I get a freaking ad. Said YouTube.
Oh,
you gotta get better with
that's not me there. I'm sorry about that. The ad, I wonder if does it pick it up after the ad where you left off? Or do you miss those?
I don't know,
10
but
seconds?
I know the last week or two.
YouTube's been overdoing their ads here. Yeah. Hopefully on April 1st. I know we're already there, but usually it's not official like 3 a.m. Eastern time. Hopefully they will slow down with their ad content. I hope.
Mike Aldan said, everybody hustles while we casually stroll into free agency and the draft when it's convenient for us. Seabass throwing out there, but we're gonna parade OBJ around like this motherfucking King Jafar.
Yeah, that's what Jerry does. So, parade him around.
Sorry, you said OBL. OBJ. I'm pretty sure you meant to say OBJ.
Well, I gotta say the pie's a fucking lie. Trust me. We'll get back to that in a minute, but I do want to go around and kind of speak on some other things, like the USFL. I don't know, the USFL Stallions. And the USFL back now, doing their games now. So you might be seeing some of that out there. Dallas Cowboy kicker Brandon Aubrey, formerly of the USFL Stallions, was there supporting his former team this weekend. Has a championship ring from that year, from last year, and hopes to make makes it to Birmingham to watch some of these games for the Birmingham Stallions. So it was the USFL that led Brandon Aubrey to the Dallas Cowboys and his NFL opportunity. Last year, he made the Pro Bowl for the Cowboys. And again, the all-time record holder, 30-something kicks in a row to start off your career. The best was like 16 or 17. We were there for the tie. We saw the record breaker on TV, and then he just kept breaking it until the end of the year. So much love to Brandon Aubrey showing out there for his old team that got him to the NFL with the Birmingham Stallions. Now, some important scheduling notes. How is this offseason, the OTAs going to, what are the dates of importance when players hit the field and start working with the scheme adjustment, the new scheme tweaks, and the learning of the system? That starts in the OTAs. And again, they acclimate them slowly, but then they start teaching them some keys to the schemes on both offense and defense. So, offseason workout dates. The first day for the Cowboys, April 15th. Smack dab in the middle of April.
Good to know.
April 15th, first day for the Cowboys offseason workouts. Cowboys have 6 organized team activities scheduled for their offseason program. Again, there'll be a wave 1 will start April 15th, but then the next wave will be the May OTA offseason workouts. Would go May 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, and then May 29th, 30th, and 31st. So after the middle of May, we get the draft at the middle of April, we get the draft. We have the rookie OTAs that come right after that, like a week after. And then by the time the rookie OTAs run out, we get them all merged together in these off-season workouts from May 21st to the 23rd and then May 29th to the 31st. So 6 total days the Cowboys will have with the rookies and the veterans. Yeah, everybody will be in that one there. So yeah, you get that first wave there with the April 15th. It's basically the acclimation portion. The next month and a half, they're going to just get into programs. It's not really going to be the teaching of the scheme. We'll get our rookies. They're going to have their OTAs, and they'll get their first acclimation to NFL football in these practices. That'll come after in the beginning of May for like 2 weeks, and then that third week will be May 21st, which will be when they mix both the rookies and the veterans together, and we get ourselves really working together going forward, getting things really implemented. And then the mandatory minicamp, which is the third wave. There's 3 different waves of this, guys. The third wave mandatory minicamp is on June 4th, 5th, and 6th. I do think we would have had a fourth one, but I know McCarthy got one of those taken away, if I'm not mistaken, last year, and also the year before that. So it's like a customary thing. We lose one of these days. McCarthy actually called off one of his his mandatory minicamp days. Gave him only 3 days. He said we got everything done we needed. So maybe this year he'll go for, well, this year can only go for 3. So there's that. Either way, that's the schedule going forward, guys. Middle of April it starts, the first wave, and really it's really just like working out and that kind of stuff. Draft, the rookie OTAs, the beginning of May, and then the end of May, 21st to basically the 31st, you're gonna have the team doing the entire offseason workout together, and then the mandatory minicamp. If you're not here, you get fined. It's the June 4th, 5th, and 6th. Then we got ourselves a big break until the end of July when there's training camp in Oxnard. And that's that. So there's the important dates going into this thing, guys. But I want to know, going into this whole situation, what the fuck are we doing at nose tackle? Mazi Smith. So you see it's one of the headlines I have on my title.
Of course.
How are we fixing, in my opinion, a massive mistake? Not in Mazi Smith, but in how he was taken care, how he was trained, or how he was advised, which meant he lost 35 pounds. He went from 330 to 295.
All he did was, follow what someone told, what his orders were, so to speak.
Was it Dan Quinn? Was it Stephen Jones?
Exactly.
You don't know.
It was obviously probably very likely, the D-line coach or Quinn who told him directly, but that doesn't necessarily mean it came from them.
Of course. Yeah. So Brian Broaddus actually said that the Cowboys are having Mazi Smith officially put weight back on.
Pobrecito.
So now he lost 35. He's going to put weight back on. By the way, it's going to be hopefully better weight, but also just needs some mass there. I know Thomas Garrett, the superior Garrett, he was saying last week that I think he said it was like he was up to like 307 pounds, or he had gained some weight back already. It's official now, according to Brian Broaddus. He will be. It's not just to put back weight now. Just he maybe will lose it or something.
Yeah.
The plan is to put on weight. Remember, we heard McCarthy talk about there's a plan going forward. It's going to kind of differentiate what we did last year. It's official. Broaddus kind of knows whatever going on back there. There is a plan, a definite direction with Mazi Smith, and that is to convert him back to a true nose tackle. That feels good. At least we're not trying to make him another Osa Odigizua. So Osa is good at the 3-tech. We need a 1-tech. We need that nose tackle under center. That was what Mazi was drafted for. We tried to make him something else last year. Horrible decision. Made him worse. And so now, hopefully, if he gets quickness off the ball, he will be, I think, a very good nose tackle. Still got to get that quickness off the ball. Maybe they felt losing weight would help. It did not. So he needs to still get off that ball quick. The reaction got to be, I don't know how they're going to help him. They got to get that done. But, I talk about these workouts, right? Mm-hmm. Last year, Mazi Smith was, of course, in college on April 15th, or at least ready for the draft. He got into the rookie OTAs, but he never had what he's been having now, which is working at the Cowboy facility, having trainers working with him. And, of course, it really gets grooving and going on April 15th, which is basically a month before he had last year. NFL, this kind of world of the NFL is so much better and different than the college world. It is a whole different realm, and you really do build mass. You build muscle. You build strength. Mazi is getting that, at least over this offseason. That's a fact. That's what happens to every trench warrior, offensive line or defensive line, in the offseason. That first year from a rookie season, when they don't get that whole offseason to work out, to they're going into their second year when they have the whole offseason before the draft to work out, which is major. That's where Mazi is, and he's gaining weight that direction. I'm not saying I'm happy. We're saved, guys. No. I'm saying that at least the direction is the right direction with Mazi Smith, where we need to go. Not down in weight, but up in weight in a full season, off-season of this training, of this off-season training by the Cowboy team. So to me, this is great news. I was happy. I maybe happier than most out there when I heard this, but I was very happy. And when he was losing those pounds last year, losing that weight, made it pretty much. First of all, I don't understand why they did that, but it made it even harder for him to play nose tackle. Like, he's getting moved around. So towards the end of last year, he looked smaller than most of the Cowboys' defensive linemen, and he's supposed to be our big guy. He looked smaller than some of the edge rushers. Like, Dorrance Armstrong looked bigger than him.
Ouch.
You know what I mean? Like, shocking to the eye. He came in at 327 pounds in the draft. Went from one of the strongest players in the draft to a guy who got pushed around pretty much the last 5 or 6 games of the season. and could not handle double teams, which is his whole purpose.
Yeah.
So
now I'm definitely not going to jump on the whole like, oh, Mazi is somehow a bust train. Just throwing that out there, but he definitely still has quite a ways to go.
I agree.
This season to
but I'll say this.
help remove some of that possible bust connotation.
I'm going to say this. I think we're going to see what Mazi Smith probably should have looked last year this year. And I think Mike Zimmer is a big reason of that. Aside from Mazi not looking good last year from losing the weight. So now that he's going to be back to the probably 320 side of things, right? North of 320. Handling the interior defensive line, which is something Mike Zimmer always needs. He always wants a true nose tackle. So Zimmer is going to take this talent, hopefully do something with him, upgrade him in the inside, make him quicker off. I mean, he's quick off the ball, guys. And he has been quick off the ball sometimes. Phenomenal. He looks great. I mean, he looks like a first-round pick. But when the problem is most of the time he's not getting off the ball fast. When he does not get off the ball fast, he gets blocked out the play. And when he's less weight, he gets blocked out even easier. So we got to see an improvement here. The best news about this, we can't help it any better than this. This is the best it could be. He's gaining weight back. It's a team plan. Zimmer wants this. He wants a nose tackle. That's it. That's all we can do. We're not going to get Hankins. We might get someone when things get cheaper after the draft to like just in case, but which we definitely have to because we got no one the fuck else in there. But the Cowboys are going to go with Mazi Smith. I'm telling you this. I'm expecting this from the Cowboys. We're not going to get any name guy. We're not going to pay a guy even $2 million or $1 million. We're going to pay him bare veteran minimum to come in there and be a veteran backup to Mazi, who's probably close to practice squad.
Yes, so by the way, Mike Aldana, I do think it's a little ironic that the day chosen for us was tax day, yes. I wonder if Jerry had anything to say on that.
April 15th.
Distracting the IRS.
Jerry's, that was a good L. So anyways, the point is, guys, thanks to Zimmer, we might see the real Mazi Smith this year. And I say real, he's still not going to be like a superstar, but we might see the same growth you saw with someone like Jalen Tolbert getting put into a bad situation with Kevin, what's his name? Fucking Kellen Moore, right? Having to learn this whole entire scheme that even the veterans learned until like week 8, 9, and 10 of that season. So Tolbert was in a bad situation. And then the next year it was simpler and he just shined a little bit more, shined more than Gallup. That's the kind of third-round pick we want to see from a receiver. And, now he's looking like he may be taking over the receiver spot in that third slot for the Cowboys. But Mazi Smith's a first-round pick. He didn't show anything. He didn't show fucking eighth-round pick. And I say eighth round as an undrafted. He didn't show shit last year. So he's got to ball out, and he's got to make that same jump. But he's putting the weight back, and he's in a system where you need a nose tackle. Mike Zimmer obviously is going to utilize him that way. That's a good sign going forward. I don't know if there's any quick little comments, a comment or two.
Pioneer said, Mazi will be bigger for sure. The performance-enhancing vitamins are usually administered after the rookie season, allegedly. So, and guys, let's be real. We know that, in general, even if it's not like, vitamins, the actual types of vitamins and supplements and other things that most athletes usually take and stuff, it can be a very long list to keep them in top performing states. So, and Thomas Garrett saying, yep, MCF, we were there for the tie on that cold day in Dallas.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So,
we were all there for that one.
And
the
nice
tie
try,
of the
Lee
kick.
Side. Nice try. And by the way, yes, guys, be very, very cautious about your news and news sources the next 24 hours.
Yeah. Well, I was going to end it with that. But either way, that's the Mazi Smith update. As good as it can be, I guess. I mean, we're not sitting here saying we're going to win the Super Bowl. We're just saying that at least we're getting Mazi back in the right direction. That's a great sign there. Now, trenches, right? Draft. Do not expect listen, I love Devondre Sweat. I do not see the Cowboys picking him in the second round because the Cowboys got Mazi Smith and they're going to be stubborn and say we're going all in with him. So, looking at the draft, all right? And, I go right to where the picks are at here. Let me just throw them up here so we know, we know the draft hats. Not our favorite, but not the worst ever. Point is, our draft here, as you can see where we pick in this draft, we have a couple new names for the top 30 visits. So it's very important because the Cowboys do draft from this group. And the Cowboys are bringing in 2 offensive line prospects for the 30 visits this week. Offensive tackle Kingsley Saumatia, which sounds like I'm not sure if he's going to be a high-end, first-round kind of guy, but offensive tackle. All right, could be a later round, second, third round kind of guy. I'm not really sure where he sits. But the other guy is offensive lineman Troy Fautanu. And Troy Fautanu from Washington Huskies is one of the better players, athletes out there on the offensive line. He's not listed as he's an offensive lineman. So he plays a lot, kind of more than one spot. And the Cowboys are hosting him this week as well. He's an elite athlete with a lot of flexibility to play both tackle and guard. So a guy the Cowboys may want to look at there, Troy Fautanu from Washington, from the Huskies. Now, that's the offensive side. I can go with, and I'm going to wait with, that's the offensive line side. Let's go to the defensive linebacker side. So North Carolina State linebacker Peyton Wilson is now officially a 30 visit for the Cowboys. So the Cowboys are really stocking full of linebackers here, guys, right? I mean, we talked about Edgerrin Cooper.
Yep.
Now we're looking at Peyton Wilson from North Carolina State. But then if you're going to look at which linebackers would you look at in this draft, when it comes to the middle or late rounds, I'm talking about 5th round and beyond, day 3. Jordan McGee, who's a 30 visit guy from Temple, very possible picked in there. Irifuan Ulifunshio from Washington, the Huskies. He's also a linebacker that you can see picked in day 3. Trevin Wallace, the definite day 3 guy, talked about him. Cowboys have him as a top 30 visit as well from Kentucky. And Nathaniel Watson from Mississippi State, another day 3 kind of linebacker to keep your eye on. I do want to make a mention about linebacker real quick for the Cowboys. Damone Clark this week working out with strength and conditioning specialist in the offseason, Dr. Mohammed Al-Mubadin. All right, in 2023, remember, Damone Clark played all 18 games this past year and had a team high, led the team with 109 tackles. Now, again, should have, could have, and will hopefully be better than that performance. But not bad in the second year after coming back from that neck fusion. The arrow is pointing up with the young linebacker, number 33, Damone Clark. Still, in my opinion, even what I've seen from his workouts and stuff, needs to gain at least another 15, 20 pounds. He's got to get bigger. All right? But I'll say this. We talked about some linebackers, mid-round linebackers. The Cowboys want to improve the run defense. Outside of nose tackle with Mazi, we just talked about that. A place to find hope in. Take the grades from the analytical side, the PFF side of things. All 88 linebackers in 2023. Damone Clark, run stop, an 83.6 grade. That was third best in the NFL at linebacker. Third best run stopper in the NFL, even though he had a lot of subpar games. I blame that. Some of it's on him. I think it's more on not having a good nose tackle. At the time, he was injured. Hankins. But I just know he suffered when a lot of our linebackers suffer, as they always will. LVE, Damone Clark, when we didn't have a nose tackle that was solid taking on double teams. And when Mazi played, there was no double teams being taken on. So Damone Clark still ended up third in run defense, as far as analytics are concerned. And who was fourth? Well, it's the new man on our defense at linebacker off ball. Number 50 now. Mm-hmm. Eric Kendricks. We just got him from the Chargers. The only outside player we got this year so far in the offseason. So Eric Kendricks had an 83.6, which, by the way, it was literally a tie between both of them. But it was like I think if you go down on the line on the percent on the number on the decimal, I think that Damone Clark edges him out. But they basically had the same numbers in run defense. So good starting point at least with Damone Clark and Eric Kendricks as our inside linebackers in there. The combination of both these guys, again, if the Cowboys provide a viable nose tackle that takes on double teams, these two linebackers may be able to do the job. Now, Clark needs a little more weight. Kendricks, he's a little older. But with a good enough nose tackle, and is Mazi that guy? I don't think so. But if he surprises us, we will have him. The run game will be extremely improved. Like, you'll see the difference, guys. But again, a lot of big ifs, especially with Mazi, in my opinion. Clark getting a little more weight. Kendricks can't get younger. So I just wanted to throw that in there for linebackers. But let's not stop there. Let's continue. to running backs. What about running backs in the draft? What about some mid or late round, some day 3, 5th, 6th, 7th round running backs?
Okay.
Now, I have Frank Gore Jr. as a possibility. I don't think the Cowboys do. Isaiah Davis, South Dakota State. Isaac Guriendo from Louisville. And a guy the Cowboys have a top 30 visit with from Marshall, Rashid Ali, who the Cowboys really like. So, Rashid Ali from Marshall, a guy to look at in that 5th, 6th round if the Cowboys haven't picked a running back yet. If you're looking at mid to late round running backs. But we've heard this whole thing, baby, about are we going to go with only? Is the only guy we got right now our starter, our running back? Is it really Rico Dowdle? And I've been saying, maybe I think you've been saying this too, we're going to draft the one right behind him right there. We're going to draft the guy, whether it's the 2nd, 3rd, Jonathan Brooks or somebody in the 3rd round, or like I just mentioned, some mid or late round running backs that we can take to team up with Rico Dowdle. Is that going to be enough? I know the answer is no. We might not use the running game a lot under McCarthy's offense. I don't know. But I still think we need something more. So we need some kind of veteran of some sort. And that's what we've been saying, baby. We've both been saying we need a veteran of some sort to kind of help him with a trio with Dowdle, a rookie, and then a veteran of some sort. Now, all the veterans,
you needed to balance that out.
All the veterans are basically fucking gone. But they're, and I say that as like the top veterans, but there's still some mid, very little mid, but a lot of lower level running backs out there.
We know the
right?
Cowboys free agency basically hasn't even started yet.
Yeah,
We're still in the
Cowboys
free agency.
Yeah, we got 5 or 6 of our own and Eric Kendrick. So we've heard about, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I've talked about him. Talked about Kareem Hunt. Talked about J.K. Dobbins, who's still out there, cleared for medically cleared for working out. So all these guys are floating around. A lot of running backs still to me that are maybe low level or even middle level guys that have a high upside that you can get right now for under $3 million. So the Cowboys decided to say, you know what, we want to go cheaper than that. No surprise. We want to go to a guy that we're already paying $6 million to. And that's Ezekiel Elliott right there, guys.
Might as well, right?
Now, we haven't signed him. There's no signing. There's not anything, even a deal imminent or anything. But multiple sources once again confirming that the Cowboys and running back Ezekiel Elliott are very open to a reunion. We talked about this the other day. It was possible. Him and Dalvin Cook. Sounds like Zeke is kind of taking the lead here. Mutual interest. This is per Jeremy Fowler between the Cowboys and Zeke. And a deal, again, between Zeke and the Cowboys has not been reached yet. Both sides, according to sources, are open to it. So there's something going on. It might be a lot of incentives for Zeke in the deal. He might get, $1.5 million. And then incentives, right? So Dallas, the Cowboys, the front office, they liked the way, and listen, I got to admit it too. When it came to the Cowboys, the way he finished his season with the Cowboys in 2022, the Cowboys were, Zeke was just not really, he wasn't doing his thing anymore like the way he did, but he was the short yardage guy. He had like 9 touchdowns in a row in 9 games on the goal line. We weren't worried about scoring touchdowns and trying to get first downs with Zeke, barreling through there. So whatever his role was, I think I said that year, going into next year, I don't mind keeping him, reducing his numbers. He gets cut, re-sign him, and make him a fullback. I mean, the guy's he's a bruising fullback that can block, catch, and run. So why not? I mean, shit, he's better than Lipke. I'm just being real, guys. He's better than Lipke for that role. So I like the way he finished the league. Of course, the year, he didn't come back to us. He ended up eventually signing with the Patriots. And the Cowboys, according to these sources, say they also like the way he ended his season with New England. Now, he did not have a good season there in New England. Let me just remind you guys. But he did play in all 17 regular season games. He saw an increase in workload last year, especially in the final 5 weeks of the year. Because remember, the whole year, he was not the starter. It was Ramondre Stevenson who was the starter. And he got sidelined with a high ankle sprain. So when he was injured, Zeke took over and the workload increased and he didn't miss a beat as far as, he didn't miss any games. He didn't look tired. Yep. He didn't look broken down or worn down. Remember, Zeke now turns 29 on July 22nd. So before training camp, he turns 29 years old. And Zeke waited until August last year. Till August. Before signing a 1-year deal with the Patriots worth $3 million. So $3 million for Zeke last year after, 400 yards this year, right? And we were paying we're not actually paying him in his hand, but we were paying on the cap $6 million on Zeke's old money. Spent the first 7 years with his career with us, was released last March. So it seems like it'll be a perfect match, a perfect fit. Look, I'm going to say this, a couple good things, a couple bad things. Zeke played 51% of the offensive snaps and ran behind a really shitty offensive line in New England. Now, again, he played 51%, more than half of the snaps. And I made a mistake. He finished with a team-high 642 yards. So he was the Patriots' leading rusher, actually. On 184 carries, only an average of 3.5 yards per carry. So you're not going to get a lot of yards from Zeke, but you get those tough yards from Zeke. And he only had 3 touchdowns last year. I mean, the Patriots are so bad, they couldn't get down the field. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll get down the field and then put in Zeke, that kind of deal. He should not be in the game, though. I would not want Zeke in the game, like, as our starting running back. But as a specialist, I love the idea of maybe having a Zeke-like guy in there. Now, again, Zeke himself, not the happiest about that. Dalvin Cook's out there. There's a couple other guys, but I would not be if they use him for the reasons I'm saying. I would have no issue with Zeke being on this team again for the cheap price. But again, he added a team high 51 catches for the Patriots. Again, 51 receptions and was he their leading receiver for the Patriots? He can't be, right? 51 catches last year for Zeke. And he had 313 yards in the air, 6.1 yards per catch in the air, and he also scored 2 more touchdowns, catching the ball. So 5 touchdowns total, right? 640 yards rushing, 3.5 yards per carry. 51 catches for the Patriots, which was their leader in receptions, for 313 yards in receiving yards, 6 yards per catch. I'm just saying, that's not bad for Zeke, who I'm thinking is just completely dead in the water, broken down. He's 6 feet, we know, 226, selected 4th in 2016 by the Cowboys overall in the first round, and led the NFL in rushing his first 2 of his 3 years. 3-time Pro Bowl selection, rushed for currently almost 9,000 yards and 71 touchdowns in his career. Also has 356 catches for almost 2,700 yards and 14 touchdowns in the air. I do want to also say, though, even though, I want your impression.
Of course.
But the fact that he was used last year he was used a lot more at the end of the year, the last 5 games. And his workload increased. He had a lot more usage, but he was not useful, meaning on the field. He only gained 2.9 yards per carry when he was given more responsibility. But I'm going to say this. He 3.5 for the season was his yards per carry, but 2.9 when he got his workload increased. The issue wasn't Zeke as much as it is the offensive line of the Patriots and the lack of an offense that they had. The lack of an offensive threat, the lack of an offensive line, Zeke couldn't do much. But he would do more with us, although, again, we don't have much of an offensive line right now either. Let's be real. So he's averaging 2.9 yards. With all those things in New England, I'm sure he can get to 3.5 with us. And that's one thing. If we use him like a starter, I don't want to use him like a starter. I want to use him like when he was getting 3.5 yards in New England overall for the season, right? So use him for run blocking, use him for short yardage, use him for pass blocking, short yardage. He can catch the ball. He can spell the other running backs. He's not my number 1 pick for this, but at this point, the Cowboys front office is giving us no choices here, and this is a viable piece. The Cowboys have been confirmed interested in Ezekiel Elliott and confirmed Zeke is interested in coming back to Dallas. And I think a piece of that is also the $6 million the Cowboys still owe the cap in 2024 is owed because of the Zeke release. So maybe in their mind, they're trying to make it work in their heads, the Cowboy front office, saying, at least we get Zeke back. Maybe he'll take less than help. I don't know what there's in their little crazy minds, but the point I'm trying to say is this, guys. The direction at running back for the Cowboys. You got Rico Dowdle. You're going to draft somebody. I think getting a veteran running back is a must. And I'm saying Zeke, Dalvin Cook. You know, you could even go Clyde Edwards-Helaire or J.K. Dobbins or Kareem Hunt. There's still more and more names out there. So that to me would be the best way. And right now it seems like Zeke is the leader of the pack.
Yeah, and honestly, like I know I made this joking comment at the beginning of our stream, but yes, MCW, Nostradamus.
Yeah, you've been talking about this.
When we first, I'm talking like
not happily.
The day after.
Not happily, but you were talking about.
No, I basically just said, I'm like, watch it end up where the Cowboys, and Zeke end up, reuniting, and watch it happen again at the drop of a hat, because obviously both sides are happy and familiar, but obviously I said more specific details that line up with exactly the way that things are going down right at this moment. No, I don't have some kind of a crystal ball or inside track. I just happen to, I think, know this team.
Know this front office,
unfortunately,
for sure.
A little too well. A little more than I would like to know. So, anyway.
Agree. What's the chat saying, baby?
Let me see here. Skeptical fan said, tell Dak to take a 10% discount if they hire Zeke.
Yeah. Help out your buddy. Help out the team. Help out your buddy. You want him here in Dallas? Take a little discount. He won't do it, but anyways. You know what will happen, though? Mark Hosepian, all the way from Hawaii, repping that star, dropping that 5 on it. Woo. The $5 holler. Mr. A. Lavelle drops to 24 points. Now it's within reach. Lavelle's dropping down that board, and Mark Hosepian going up the board, the leaderboard right now, up there in the top 10. What did the man say?
He said, even talking about Zeke shows how bad we are at running back. He's done. Last 5 games, he had 2.6, 2.7, 5, 2.6, and 4.1 yards per carry, basically, yeah. Pathetic that we would settle for 3.5
yards per average. And that's what I was talking about, Mark. I was just reading out his overall season, 3.5 yards. You realize I brought up his last 5 games, 2.9 yards. So the Cowboys are settling for this. But again, remember, I just want to remind you for this, Mark. Zeke was used as their starting all-around running back when his numbers dropped. The Cowboys will not be doing that. Well, they better not be doing that with Zeke. They better be using like a mixture of guys, or maybe the rookie. Maybe you use Zeke. And again, to me, Zeke is more of a specialist player. If you get Zeke, you got yourself a guy who gets the hard yards, 1 yards or end zone stuff. But some fans think it's the Zeke of old. Some people, and he's not going to take the money of the Zeke of old either. He's not worth that much money. Obviously, probably going to be $2 million or less. So, but I'm with you. So I would much rather have 5 other running backs over Zeke that are still out there now.
Yeah, and we had,
that are affordable.
Yeah, the thing that gets me is we had a handful of
choices.
Much more viable options for not that much more money.
Than what Zeke's going to
genuinely,
cost,
really, truly, not that much more money.
Well, right now, you'll see at the end, I think what it's going to, I truly think, I don't know if it's going to be Zeke or not, but I truly think at the end of the day, whichever guy the Cowboys sign is the guy that was not signed by anybody else. And it was a guy who was not signed after the draft. You guys remember, the compensatory picks, the Cowboys do not want to give them up. So after the draft, those comp picks do not get taken away from the Cowboys. Whoever's left over, then the Cowboys will give the deal to. And if it's a couple, they'll give the deal to the guy they like the most. It might be Zeke. So I'm just saying that seems to be the direction this may be going in. That's all.
So, by the way, throwing out there.
Much love, Mark.
Thank you again, Mark. Big
Yes.
mahalo to you there.
Big shout-outs.
Seabass also throwing out there. Zeke, Cook, and Dowdle, Vaughn, ain't and wouldn't be enough. We have to draft a solid running back, not Brooks, and no more injured players.
Right,
so
and I agree 100%.
Draft a running back and not the injured running back that you can
not
get
Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah, not
as a second rounder
no
or third rounder. I'd rather go with a 5th rounder that you mix in there, Rico and Zeke. Let's say if you have to have Zeke, Mark's getting 6 on the board.
Throwing out there, Rico will probably end up getting the majority of the snaps
and
over even Zeke.
Yeah, and he has to. He would have to, or else it's a mistake by the Cowboys. That's what I'm trying to say. Zeke, you're getting for $1 million. For a veteran salary benefit. Well, he's going to get an extra $300,000, and we're going to save $300,000 on our cap. That's what the Cowboys want to do, and they'll wait till after the draft to do it. Now, look, you can sign him now for that deal if Zeke wanted it, but the problem is, that it's not a problem for the Cowboys to lose a comp because he will not hit the comp factor. When he leaves, let's say we sign him and he's here for a year, he's not going to be playing, getting 100 yards a game and getting paid $18 million. Those are the ones that you lose comp picks for. He's getting hardly any money and not as much playtime as he's used to. So when you add it all together, he will not be taking away a compensatory pick and be given to the Patriots for that one. He will be probably just not hit the comp pick, and he's affordable. I think most of these running backs right now are affordable, but the Joneses just want to drag their feet and pick probably the one that's left over at the end. Because that's plain and simple, guys. And you know what I'm going to say. That's the clown show. It's the fucking clown show.
Oh, one of the few times I do wish we had like a little soundboard, a little sound effect there or something. Just as I'd love the little clown music to play.
I would like to go like the horn, the nose horn. Anyways, moving on from Zeke, who right now seems to be the guy the Cowboys want to bring in as a veteran, running back. Dak Prescott. Real quick back to him. He was spotted not spotted, but he's photographed and working out right now. Back to work with the great Damian Devon, which is a quarterback coach, and I think is a guy who he's been working with in the past.
Yeah.
So he's back doing that. I'll speak a little more about Dak in a minute, but first, Mark Hovsepian dropping that 5 on it.
Ooh.
Much love to Mark, who's getting closer. I think he's like 10 away from Marissa Sparkle on the 5th place on that overall board. What did the man Mark Hovsepian have to say?
Jerry Jones is waiting to see who is cut after the draft. If we're willing to pay $1 to $2 million for Zeke, why not add that money to what we paid Hankins and then keep Hankins?
I 100% agree there, but Hankins is in Seattle. That's gone.
So to answer the why, it's because the Cowboys chose not to.
Yeah,
Like
the Cowboys.
That's it.
The Cowboys had said they were interested in Hankins, and then the Seattle Seahawks paid him basically $1.3 million with incentives that could get it to $2 million. That's the Cowboys passed on that. That means Cowboys didn't really want him. So that's the front office. I mean that's the front office. So that's the Hankins. The Cowboys are not interested in getting. They were not interested in getting Hankins at all. So the thing is that in my opinion, who gets cut after the draft is a very good viable option. But also remember, any player you sign, even for a lot of money, even if he's a good name still out there, even if he can take a compensatory pick away from you the next year, that's taken away after the draft. So the Joneses usually sign 1 or 2 players right after the draft, whether they were cut or whether they were guys that don't have comp assignments anymore to them. So that's the way the front office works, brother. And we know it's good, bad, or ugly, and with the front office is usually ugly and bad. So now, by the way, that drop takes Mr. Lavelle to 19 points on the stream, boss.
There you go.
Appreciate the man Mark Hovsepian, who is again closing in on that top 5 board right now. But Dak is back working out, practicing with his coach, with the quarterback coach, Damian Devon. Let me talk about DeMarvion Overshown. He's coming back from that rehab, from that torn ACL.
Yeah.
And, he's out, he's working out. We talked about him in the past, but he made a comment today, DeMarvion Overshown, on Twitter, saying, quote, Dak Prescott is the guy we want leading us into battle on game day. Stop with all the fake narratives. And I'll explain what the fake narrative is because, again, the locker room, the Dallas, whether we like it or not as fans, the Dallas Cowboy locker room believes in Dak Prescott. The question is, to what extent does the front office believe in this quarterback or in the locker room? Really, not even the quarterback, in the locker room, I guess you can say too. But the point is that if they've claimed they believe in Dak, and if they do, then you would assume that extension is going to come sooner than later. And I even though it sounds like they're not worried, neither side is worried. Dak doesn't care. Dak's going to get paid more money if you wait.
Exactly.
He knows that. But if the Joneses really were committed, they should have paid, right? The Joneses are wavering, But they're going to pay eventually probably, and they're going to pay more probably. You look at Dak's numbers real quick. I'm glad Marco Osepian is here because when you look at Dak Prescott versus plus 500 teams, like teams that are above, not average, not below average, teams that are above average. When you look at the games that the Cowboys, and I mean just not Dak, the offense, played against top 500 teams. Last year in 2023, we had 9 games, guys. 9 games. Now you can say they're not really that. Oh, they're over 500, but they're not that good. You could say that, but this is the way these quarterbacks are usually judged on if they can beat the 500, the above average teams. And in 9 games, we played above 500 teams. Dak had 2,536 yards, 66.8% completion percentage, which is very good. 70% is outstanding. He's almost at 67%. He had 7.4 yards per attempt, on his passes. 20 touchdowns. Again, these are only against the better teams, the above average teams. He had 8 interceptions against the better teams, 21 big-time throws, 12 turnover-worthy plays, 14 drops so he had a lot of drops against the better teams, and a 74.4 PFF grade, which is above average. It's excellent. He was also pressured. Out of 398 dropbacks, almost 400 times he dropped back, he was pressured 134 times, which is a lot. So a lot of pressure against these better teams in the NFL, the above average teams, last year in his MVP type season. 9 games were above 500 teams, and he really showed out. Again, this is some of the best numbers you're going to get against the top teams in the league. So even though I still think there's some more context in there, Dak is a top 7 quarterback in my mind, and is better than that, higher than that, when you get better pieces and coaching, and you don't put it only on Dak Prescott's shoulders. You got a better than a top 7 quarterback, in my opinion. When you take everything away from Dak, he might not be top 10 like this year. Might be worse, but we'll see what happens. I see that Marco Sepian's coming through with another $5 holler, and now I think he's 5 away from jumping into 5th place, and he's also taken A. Lavelle down to 14 points on the Stream Boss. Dun, 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 dun. What did Marco Sepian say?
He said, not re-signing, don't bug me as much as the fact that we have nothing to replace him.
Right.
I think there's doubt everywhere with Dak, and they're being politically correct. So basically, it's not so much the beginnings of the potential moving on from Dak, because you can do better. This is Marcus saying, just the fact that, again, we're already beginning the process of moving on from him with literally no answer. Just vibes.
Remember we were trying to figure out if the Cowboys were going to pay the $30 million, and we had no other answer. Mm-hmm. Then we were trying to figure out if we're going to pay the $35 million, but we had no other answers. So Dak waits. Then we paid the $40 million because we had no other answers. And 4 years later, we have no answer. So this is not Dak's fault, his agent's fault, the money the players are making. This is only, again, everything has a place to play in this, of course, but the main reason is by far the Joneses and the way they handle contracts. We would not be having this issue with Dak's contract or these questions. One way or the other, we wouldn't have it. You know why? Because a good front office would have already made a fucking decision. They would have already went a certain way and done a certain thing that would have made things a little harder for Dak to say, give me my money, I want it all. There's other ways of doing that. And what was Jerry Jones' way? Trey Lance, which worked for shit because Trey Lance ain't ready. Marco Sepian's ready. He's just jumped over Marissa Sparkle with that 5 on it. Another $5 holler. By the way, Mark's the only one dropping so far in stream here on the finale wrap-up night for the week. What did the man have to say?
He said, we had the 30th ranked strength of schedule, and better team versus better defense is my issue. Philly is a good team, but they have a horrible defense. And he did squat against the better defenses.
And that's why I said the nuances, the context. I know there's more. I know that that's part of it too. But if Mahomes gets compared to beating a good team like the Eagles, or they lost to the Eagles, I think. Mm-hmm. But my point is that if Mahomes gets credit for beating the Eagles, We should get, and Mahomes gets credit for that. Then Dak should get credit for beating the Eagles, even with their shittier pass defense. And I feel you, I understand. But it's context. It should go all ways, not just only on Dak. You know what I mean? Like, it should go on everyone. When Mahomes beats a good team that has a crappy defense, they don't say, oh, well, the defense is ranked 31st. They say Mahomes beat that good team. When it's Dak, it's like, yeah, but Dak played the 31st ranked defense. They don't say that about Mahomes. They don't say that about Josh Allen. He didn't win a Super Bowl. They don't say that about any other quarterback except Dak Prescott. That's my confusion. I know we're harder as fans on our players, but Mark, you see what I'm saying too. Like I can name you other than Burrow and Hurts, who got to the Super Bowl and lost. Brady's won it, and Mahomes won it, and Aaron Rodgers won it, and Russell Wilson's won it. Outside of those guys, Dak's next. That's it. Dak's next. And you know what's funny? That's perfect. It leads me to my next question, the next comment, which, by the way, A. Lavelle, he's got that Romo, 9 points. It's Cavante Turpin now, but 9 points on that Stream Boss. So $10 holler takes the Stream Boss down and replaces it with your name. But I want to make that mention, baby. Here's an example. A guy who's always in the top of the quarterback areas, of course, mentioned that because best of all quarterbacks is Tom Brady. Tom Brady, how many playoff wins does Tom Brady have, do you know, in his career?
Shit, I mean, playoff wins?
Yeah.
That's a rough one. I'm going to go with like 30-something.
35 wins.
Oh, shit.
So 35
Damn,
wins.
good.
35 wins for Tom Brady.
Sorry, that was a random guess, though.
And the guaranteed money for him, guaranteed money, $332 plus. I'm going to say $332 million. It's over that, but a little bit over $332 million with 35 playoff wins. Kirk Cousins, 1 playoff win. And he has $411 million in guaranteed money. So, again, it's not about money or the player. Or, what I'm saying? We know Brady took a lot less, too. But more about Cousins making a $411 plus million dollars and has 1 playoff win. Now, I'm not saying he's the problem. See, I'm saying the problem is the teams around him sometimes. The team could be the coaching scheme and all these other things. But he's a good, solid franchise quarterback. He has 1 playoff win, still has guaranteed money of over $411 million. While Tom Brady, one of the best, if not the best quarterback of all time, I don't think he's the best of all time, but definitely has the most Super Bowl rings, 35 playoff wins, and only guaranteed, basically, $80 million less guaranteed money than someone like Kirk Cousins. So money doesn't always equate to how good you are. So again, it's more about quarterback market. And what a team sees or needs in their team, in that quarterback, let's just say. Now, you talk about some of the stuff that DeMarvion Overshone was talking about.
Yeah.
About, basically my quarterback, we want him to lead us in battle. Ryan Clark, he's an announcer on ESPN, was rehired. Remember, there was an issue with him kind of getting fired and rehired.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of him. He's a big time. He definitely respects the Cowboys, has some good breakdowns. But I might have to walk that back a little bit. So, Ryan Clark said this on his show, a show he has. He said that he believes the Cowboys for 2025, not this year, but for the 2025 draft after Dak's season this year, the Cowboys should, he said, quote, with the first round of the 2025 draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Shedeur Sanders from Colorado. And that's the narrative we're starting to hear now.
Okay.
Shedeur Sanders with Deion Sanders said, come to Dallas. It's a Dallas connection. It's great for Jerry. It's great for Deion.
Yep.
Shedeur Sanders grew up in Dallas area. So this is what I'm hearing from a lot of, narratives from the media, from people. Again, even Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark said this. Deion Sanders has a short list of teams he'd allow his son to play for. And I'd bet good money that the Cowboys are at the top of that list. Dak could leave next year for some big money in next year's free agency, and Shedeur Sanders could replace him in a return home to lead America's team. His father built part of his legend wearing that star in his helmet. Why not run it back? The Joneses, Sanders' legacy continues. They are still friends. Think about it. So again, that's what Ryan Clark is saying. Now, I understand his point. I just don't agree with this. This is he went for it. He went for the bait. He went for the cowboy clickbait shit. But Shedeur Sanders is not is not going to get. It's not like it's just like people don't understand. Just because you draft a guy because of name or because of Deion Sanders' son, or he had a good year in college, or guys, it's a whole different world. And yes, I know with Deion involved, it's going to be. I know. I get the feeling of it. It is a Jerry Jones move, but that is not going to be the savior of our team. A lot of people are saying Shedeur Sanders is way overrated. This is a Jerry Jones move. We need Stephen Jones to step in here. This is kind of funny I'm saying that, but the point is, I believe and all this bullshit talk. That's why I'm with Overshown on this, and Dak leads him into battle and all that stuff. He doesn't think that. I don't think that Dak leaves the Cowboys. That's my opinion. But if the Cowboys do let him go, if the Cowboys let him go and take someone like Shedeur Sanders in the draft, it's just the Cowboys front office. It's Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, literally proving that they're living off the past and selling hope through Deion Sanders and through a new rookie quarterback. Sanders' son. This is all for entertainment. This is not for winning football. This would be a move that Joneses would do, and it would make it crystal clear. It already is kind of clear already, but make it crystal clear that this organization is not about winning. It's about living off the past, selling hope to the fans, keeping their bank account fat. Those are facts, in my opinion. If we go this route, something against Shedeur Sanders. If the Cowboys go this route, it is not about winning route. It is about making headlines and making that just money, which we know is a very real thing with Jerry Jones, which is why, even though I'm saying this and the narrative's out there, it sounds stupid. You just can't say, yeah, it won't happen. Because you just never know. Maybe you yourself said a couple years ago about Jerry Jones's grandson.
Yep.
And the plan of that going forward. Wasn't that some of the talk, right?
Oh, yeah, that was my little joke there, right? I think it's Steven's oldest boy, John Steven Jones. He's
Junior.
Playing, he's playing in Arkansas, I think, right?
Yeah, it was a third stringer, I think.
Something like that, yeah. So he
fizzled out.
Really doing anything there. But I had kind of just joked. I'm like, oh yeah, he'll make it to the NFL, and or even if he doesn't, the point is that the Cowboys are going to absolutely snatch him up just to be able to,
have him on the
keep that
team,
family
right?
connection. Maybe they also don't want to set a bad precedent where every dummy that's tangentially connected to the Jones family starts trying to,
push their way
I don't know, push their way in, yeah. So,
well, I'm going to give you a little clue. Everyone already knows that about the Cowboy front office.
I know, it wouldn't be a surprise,
Yeah.
but at least in this case, it would have to have some measure of talent to be able to be surprised in that way.
Let me tell you this about this front office, and let's take Dak out of the mix for a minute. I'm just going to tell you about how cheap this front office is. I've told you in so many different ways, but this front office, and I say now, Jerry's the brainchild of this, but Stephen Jones is carrying the flame right now, and he is the ringleader of this circus. Americans, and this past year bet a fuckload of money on sports, all right? But when you look at things, right, I mean, you look at 2019, it was about $2 billion in sports betting, 2019.
Okay.
2020, about almost $4 billion. In 2021, about $7 billion. In 2022, about $10 billion. You see how it's going up and up and up?
Yeah.
In 2023, this past year, it was over $14 billion, but it ended up at $14 billion. $14 billion. It started at $2 billion in 2019. What a big increase in 5 years, right? And this is all included in the CBA.
Okay.
So that means that these contracts and the salary cap will always be going up
in a proportional
in
rate?
in a proportional way.
That's what I'm saying. Just making sure.
Like this year, after we got out of the COVID stuff and the COVID penalties, we're out of that now.
Yeah.
And this year we still got what, 30-something million, 40-something million on the cap?
Yeah.
New money.
Yeah, we do.
Remember with the Cowboys, Nick Harris, and again, love the guy, but he's misreported here. You remember what Nick Harris said about, and this is coming from these Joneses, he said it goes up about $10 million a year.
Okay.
That will never happen again under this CBA contract, just unless no one bets anymore, and the TV contracts disappear tomorrow. Like that's the only way. I mean, it's never going to happen. So, guys, this front office, and I'm saying Nick Harris is the the news passer, but he's not the guy at fault. It's the front office. They are trying to convince you that the salary cap is only going to go up $10 million a year every year for the next 4 or 5 years, and we're in cap hell. Guys, they're using last decade's calculations on you, on the fans, on us.
Guys, we already have an understanding what those numbers are going to look like. We already know what the cap is.
Yeah, it's just going to get higher.
Exactly.
Every year.
It's definitely way more than just the $10 million.
It's not going to be 10. It's not, and even if we talked about this, even if it was $10 million, it still would go up more than what the Joneses and Nick Harris are reporting on their DallasCowboys.com.
Exactly.
So it's all bullshit. And I want to show you how cheap this front office is. It's not the first time that Jerry Jones, and we talked about his comment. I think we kind of whisked over it. But I guess I'll read this one here, baby. But not the first time Jerry Jones has made a comment about not wanting to pay coaches who are not working for him. Like, if you fire someone, you got to still pay out like Wade Phillips. We fired him, got to pay out his contract, right? So this front office is very cheap. Let me explain. Jerry Jones said this the other day, quote, "You've got a very significant problem in the NFL with dead money for coaches."
Huh.
By the way, guys, there's no cap for coaches. But he said that. He goes, there's a big problem in the NFL that there's dead money for coaches, and it's because you've got extended contracts to where if you let somebody go, you've got to pay off their contract. It's got to be so much of an issue that you can decide if you want to do what you want to do this year and then reshuffle the cards next year with them. There's nothing that says I won't be extending these coaches next year. They're just all good coaches. Obviously, that's just the way I do it. Now, he's talking about the Cowboy coaches here at the end of their contracts. He said, quote, "I'm doing it to be very candid with you because we have such a problem with dead money with coaches in the NFL. So that's what I'm trying to avoid," end quote. He's telling us the reason why all our coaches are on their contract year is because he doesn't want to pay them for a couple years down the road and then have dead money because he fired them. Because guys, first of all, there's no dead money. Just so you guys understand, there's no coaching cap or dead money in coaching. He's using the words to try to confuse people. Also, if you understand what he's trying to say, he's like, for him, it's dead money because he's got to pay from his little pocket. That it's a huge pocket because, as I said,
gets paid regardless.
Yeah, that money gets So if you listen, what do you think McCarthy cost? I don't remember, but he probably was.
Sure.
Yeah, a lot. What does that mean? $40 million for 5 years? Let's say $50 million for 5 years. The man is making $10 million a year. You're telling me this fucking cheap motherfucking Jerry Jones cannot afford $10 million for 1 year if you wanted to fire McCarthy last year? Like that? You telling me he can't afford $10 million? This motherfucker makes the team is worth $10 billion. That's chump change. $10 million? That's like $10. I'm just saying, like, stop with Jerry Jones making excuses for this. And listen, he's making excuses, two things here, on why he's going to fire these guys and not give them any more contracts going forward. Yeah. But also he's making excuses on why he didn't fire them earlier. Why he didn't fire McCarthy earlier. That's what he's doing for you here, guys. So the front office, Jerry Jones, when they start talking about dead money for coaches, it's a very unserious organization. That's star over everything, but they are shaming the star. Very, very shameful, and they're very, very fucking cheap. So I'm going to finish with this, with some cheap options for these cheap motherfuckers. All right? Free agent-wise. So I just want you to know, guys, The Athletic, they made it's called an Austin Mock NFL projection model, which calculates the value that teams have added and the value that teams have lost since the end of this past 2023 season. The projection includes free agents and trades. The projection model says that the Falcons and the Bears had the best offseason. And it projects that the Chiefs are slipping a little bit and the Cowboys are slipping the most in this offseason. So what's left for the Cowboys? I got a couple bargain basement starters for you. I hate saying it like this, but that's all we got. Mark, I hope you're listening. Everybody, I hope you're listening. Give me your viewpoints on these three guys. Two of them offensive linemen, because I don't think we're going to draft two offensive linemen back-to-back and fill in center and tackle. So, let's look at tackle. Former Chiefs offensive lineman Donovan Smith. Now, his estimated value right now, average per year, only $1.7 million for a starting left tackle. You cannot get cheaper than this. We talked about Charles Leno. We talked about a couple other guys. Bakhtiari, if he's not fully, if he can pass his physical. But now I'm going down to Donovan Smith. He's 30 years old, all right? The biggest issue with him is penalties. Whoa, we'd love to hear that. But last year he had 9 penalties, and that was one of his better seasons in penalties. And he had 9 for the whole year. In the last 4 years, he's been flagged 40 times. And you got to remember, that is as a starter. But let me just say one little thing here. If we're not sure about a backup situation, Donovan Smith is a perfect backup option. Again, no more Tyron Smith. But if you bring in Bakhtiari, and you're going to manage him like Tyron Smith, and he gets hurt, having Donovan Smith for $1 million for basically the veteran base salary, the veteran benefit salary the Cowboys love to do. If you get him for that, you got a fantastic depth offensive lineman, a swing tackle backup. I know we had Chuma Edoga. This would be a big upgrade. Donovan Smith, as a backup or swing tackle, has all the skills you need for that position. He's very functional as a pass protector. He allowed only 2 sacks last year on 506 pass blocking sets. And in 2022, in the same pass blocking situation, only allowed 1 sack. So pass protection-wise, left tackle, the blind side for Dak Prescott, Donovan Smith is an option for the Cowboys there, who could be viable as a backup to Bakhtiari or someone like this, right? But as a backup, for sure, he can start some games possible. As far as run blocking, has to break some bad habits. Not the best run blocker, but we don't even run that much. We run, 12, 15 times? I mean, so run blocking needs some work. But if he can break some bad habits, like he lunges too forward on the run blocking, if they can clean up a couple of those things, again, the Cowboys get him for $1 million, $1.5 million. He can easily cover the tackle position in times of need. When you need a guy to step in and for an injury or shuffling, whatever it is, reshuffling. If you have Tyler Smith as the starter at left tackle, and you got to swing him over to guard because you need a guard to help there, now you got Donovan Smith can take over some time at the left tackle spot. So Donovan Smith, one option. But I'm not done. There's more. How about another 30-year-old guy at left tackle? Andres Pete. Andres Pete, formerly of the Saints, and his range is a hair more, about $400,000, $500,000 more, about $2.2 million is his annual salary per year. Okay. He's 30 years old from the Saints. Consistency and health has always been his biggest issue. The last time he played a full season was 2020. But whenever he's come back, guys, like Tyron Smith, in the sense of like whenever he comes back on that field, when he's healthy, he's a very good left tackle. Again, when he comes back, he's easily a starter. He was a starter for the Saints when he came back from his injury. So he's an injured type of guy. If you get Bakhtiari and him, you got a great collection of 2 injured guys that can last you the whole season. So I'm just making a point. If you think you can manage him like Tyron Smith, can he still do that starting? Can he stay healthy and start as your left tackle? Again, the thing is this, guys, injured, but when he's there and he's playing, he's one of the best offensive linemen for the Saints. When he was there with them, one of the issues that he's had though at New Orleans was that because he was in and out of the lineup, it contributed a lot for him being inconsistent. Remember cohesion and with our front line that McCarthy loves. That's the issue with Andres Pete. Once he's out, when he comes back, he plays well, but the communication suffers between the offensive linemen. And again, moving around the line where that's the thing too, guys. He also was moved around the offensive line, and they kind of put him wherever they needed him. So he's versatile, but it also led to inconsistency from him. So this would really help the Cowboys with the versatility factor with an Andres Pete who can play, left tackle, but he can play guard, he can play elsewhere. So a good piece, even if he's a starter at tackle, or if you want him as a rotational kind of moving piece as a backup if you need him, right? So last year, he played primarily at left tackle. Hence why I'm talking about this, right? But in the 9 years that he's been with New Orleans in his career, he's 9 years in the season. He's 9 years in the NFL. He played almost fully at left guard and right tackle. So he knows right tackle very well. He knows left tackle very well. And he knows from last year left tackle. So just something to keep an eye on there. Again, $2 million for someone like this. For the price he's estimated at, this level of experience and versatility with the price range. I know he's got the issue with the injuries. You manage him. He can serve as...
we already
we know how to manage
did
that.
it with Tyron Smith.
Yeah.
So that formula is going to be kind of copy and pasted pretty much anywhere else we need it to be on our team right now.
And at the very, very worst, he's an unbelievably versatile, intelligent, strong-minded veteran for the offensive line room who can serve as a great swing tackle and even a swing guard if need be, right? If we can answer some more questions on the offensive line. Again, he had 476 passing sets, pass blocking plays. He allowed 2 sacks. So similar to the other, similar to the other tackle I talked about here. Both guys do very well in pass protection. Pete does hold a little more. Andres Pete has more penalties playing tackle, obviously, which out there on an island more than having that phone booth kind of blocking situation. So again, 2 offensive line options. The last option, let's go to cornerback.
Okay.
You know why? Because what's the update on Stephon Gilmore? He's not in Carolina yet, but we know Carolina was one of the places that were interested in him. We heard about him making a comment about the Cowboy front office, about the way that they don't really, go after for. Well, they were just saying the Rams go after aggressively. Teams go after to win aggressively while others don't, implying the Cowboys. And he retweeted that and liked it or whatever it was. Jadeveon Clowney, though, who was eventually signed by the Panthers, said this about Stephon Gilmore. When he was signed, he had a press conference, and he was asked, with the Panthers, he was asked, what do you think about this team? What do you think you can do for this team? Or who else can you get in here? And he said, quote, I'm going to try to get Stephon Gilmore to pull up too. Because, again, Stephon Gilmore was already kind of being mentioned with the Panthers. Jadeveon Clowney got signed. He was doing his signing press conference. And then he said, you know what? I know he's interested. I know we're interested in him. I'm going to try to get him here in Carolina. So, again, no Stephon Gilmore, guys. Remember, he said, Jadeveon Clowney said that Stephon Gilmore told him that he's trying to get the Panthers to bring him back. Even though the Panthers are interested, it sounds like Stephon Gilmore is more desperate to get signed with the Panthers, with anybody, than the Panthers are looking to get Gilmore yet. So we'll see what happens. But it sounds like they are really pushing for Gilmore. So that means Jordan Lewis as our nickel corner, DeRon Bland as an outside corner with Trayvon Diggs coming back from injury. And then after that is
the plan, at least.
And after that it's Nashawn Wright as the backup, which is a major downfall there.
Which I'm sure inspires a vote of confidence in us all.
So I would like us to, why don't we go to replace Stephon Gilmore? Let's go to a guy formerly of the Baltimore Ravens, a cornerback named Rock Ya-Sin. Now, I remember him from the draft. I think the Colts had drafted him. He's 27 years old. And as for a cornerback, he is $2 million as the average number right now, it looks like, for him. $2 million for a possible, is he a starter? Is he a back? Well, I don't want Nashawn Wright there. So Stephon Gilmore, it looks like he maybe not only headed out of Dallas, but looks like he's going to Carolina. So the Cowboys, to me, still need to get a cornerback to cover this loss. I still am nervous about Trayvon Diggs' ACL because we've seen Gallup and Terrence Steele come back and not looking like themselves, right?
Yep.
So with all those questions, and Nashawn Wright's the backup, Rock Ya-Sin had a very low workload last year. Which, again, when he's been worked, he's done well. But last year he had a very low workload with the Ravens. So he's healthy. He's healthy, and he's 27 years old. And it also means that it lowers his price tag this year. That's why it's at around $2 million. That is a viable, sneaky pickup, in my opinion, guys. He's allowed a completion rate of only 55%. And that's a statistic that's been consistent. That was last year. But he's basically 55% for his entire career. When the workload is big, he's still 55% completion percentage against when you target him. That is a good coverage cornerback right there. So he's consistent. He also does not get a lot of interceptions, but with DeRon Bland and Trayvon Diggs, we're good with picks. He's not a big ball hawk, but he's like think of Byron Jones, a lesser Byron Jones. He's kind of a lockdownish kind of guy. Doesn't get interceptions, but kind of does make it hard for you to complete passes against him. We already got 2 ball hawks though, right? Deron Bland, Trayvon Diggs, so we're good there, right? Turnovers are not the high priority for our cornerback position, in my opinion, right now. When you're looking for an extra defensive back, my importance for him, we need a veteran that's functional in coverage. That's a big drop off in the Sean Wright. And he's, by the way, baby, you know what else he is? A fantastic, solid tackler. We need good tackle, especially with the yak situation going on. I'm going to go up with the new tackling rules. We need good, solid tacklers, and Rock Ya-Sin will rock you. He will make good, solid tackles for a cornerback, guys. So, again, great functional in coverage is what he is. He's a solid tackler. Is exactly what the Cowboys need when it comes to a cornerback, and also add in there the sweetener to the whole thing, which is all that matters to these two, is the price. The very low cost. He didn't play much. He's healthy. He's 27 years old. He's not a guy that jumps off in superstar kind of like pick mode, but he's a solid coverage guy. He's a solid tackler, and he's that I think he could start, and he can definitely be I would not be worried as our backup anymore if we had Rock Ya-Sin in the house. So you get him, I think he could start, and you could push Deron Bland to the nickel, and then you have the backup as Jordan Lewis, which is great, even better. If you can do those things for $2 million, please do fucking something. That cannot be too expensive for these 2 clowns. It just can't. The only thing they're worried is probably comp picks. If they wait till after the draft, Rock Ya-Sin will be Rock Ya gone.
Yeah, to me it feels like if I was a betting person, it does feel like the comp picks are the biggest overall factor.
But even $2 million for someone like him probably will maybe take away a 7th rounder. You don't have, it wouldn't even take away a comp pick at that point. I think you can get him for cheap enough that it would not affect the comp formula. I think at this point, if you talk about $3, $4, $5 million, then it changes things. You talk about $2 million or less, that will not hit the comp formula. It shouldn't hit the comp formula. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. So let me see. Pioneer said Jerry can sell Zeke's old jersey.
Yeah, does he give Zeke 21 again? Does he give Zeke 15? I don't know. But 21 is open now if Gilmore don't come back.
Let me see. Tyron Church saying, Lyle Collins is still on the scene. And I see we think a lot alike.
Well, again, the thing is, Lyle Collins on the scene, he's not crispy and clean. He's still unsigned. He's still a free agent. And I want to reiterate this, guys. He was a practice squatter last year that still is not ready. He's still out of shape. He's not going to come in there and save us at tackle. I'd rather have any of the Donovan Smith. I'd rather have him there, Bakhtiari. I talked about Charles Leno. Any of these guys over Lyle Collins. Lyle Collins is just not football. It's kind of like that whole thing with Martavius Bryant. Let's put him in. He ain't ready. He's not good enough. Let's put in Trey Lance. He ain't ready. He's not good enough yet. The same thing goes for trying to rush in there, put in there Lyle Collins because of the old name. I say Andres Pete. I say Donovan Smith. I say, I've already said a couple other names in the past, like Charles Leno and David Bakhtiari if he can pass his physical. Those are the guys I look into to try to get better at the offensive line. That's try to get something out of that. The tackle spot it's gonna be an open gaping hole, or the center guard spot will be. So we're fucked either way. So you gotta bring in one of these guys. So, and by the way, guys, I'll say this at the end of things, but I'll let you hit a couple of quick comments real quick, I guess, and then we'll wrap this up and call it a night.
Mike Aldana said, just need a good shutdown cornerback.
Hey, Rock Ya-Sin can Rock Ya-Sin.
Yeah, Rock Ya-Sin's got it. Steve said, that's a name. Yes, definitely a very interesting choice there. Yeah. So, no, just kind of rolling back a little bit more because we touched on a few of these. Yeah. Mike Aldana said, if only Steven could pull his head out of Jerry's ass for a moment to hear what MCF's spitting out right now.
I wish. This guy, Jerry Jones, didn't even...
in his little booty cavern.
Jerry Jones didn't even reach out for finding out who DeAndre Swift is next to his dad and the rest of the Cowboy front office. So you think he's going to listen to anybody else? Hells no. Fuck the clown show. Let's just hope that the players, the coaches can overcome the clown show and get that 6. It ain't probably happening anytime soon, unfortunately. By the way, a very friendly reminder. I know we just had Easter, and then we have April Fool's Day. It's kind of funny how they side by side like that. But April Fool's Day already, guys. So happy April Fool's Day. But I'll say this. It's a friendly reminder for April Fools started already. Beware of the fake accounts. Beware of the fake news stories. You guys might go wait, oh my God, we signed, Zeke and Dalvin Cook and made a trade for Aaron Rodgers. It's all fake news tomorrow. Remember that. Now, obviously if something real happens, we'll let you know. We'll break it down for you. But the fake shit, we ain't touching it. And hopefully you guys are also on top of your game too. Of course, for all kind of stuff and all kind of jokes and games within your friends and family. But when it comes to the football thing, the Cowboy thing, there's going to be a lot of fake accounts, a lot of fake stories. Don't buy any of that bullshit. It's April Fool's Day. I'll leave it at that. Don't say I didn't warn you guys. Don't say I did not warn you. So, on that note, baby, it's time for them final shout-outs. And I'll say, a comment or two that attached to them. I also want to shout out those that dropped the love from above tonight. Dwayne Broussard pre-streaming it with that Dak drop. And then Marco Sepien quadrupling it up, taking Mr. Lavelle down to 9 points. Much love to Marco Sepien and Dwayne Broussard repping the drops of love from above tonight. And then, yes, it's time to name some kingdoms here, some crowns, right? Because A. Lavelle looks like he's going to hold on. 9 points on the Stream Boss, sponsor of the week, and the Cash App King holding that title. And you guys know the man. Much love to McLovin, who's our, I think he's got the Cash App, 6 out of 7 times. Mm-hmm. And the sponsor of the week, was it 4 out of 6 times. Big shout out to McLovin. And also on the gifting board, big shout out to Skeptical Fan, who had 3 last week. So who are the new winners? Well, if the gifting board does not change, the winner will stay with Skeptical Fan, who has just one gifted membership. And that would be enough to take it down. So congrats to Skeptical Fan. If the show ends tonight without any more gifting memberships, you are the winner. And you're back-to-back in it like our 90s Cowboys. If you're wondering who's winning that Cash App crown, well, it's Mr. Harley Dad. He's got that crown around his head. He's taking it tomorrow, and he's strutting it over for a whole week, even though he's a damn Niners fan. Went from a Dolphin fan to a Niners fan. One day we'll get a Cowboy fan back at the top of these boards. But Harley Dad is not just the Cash App King. He's also the sponsor of the week. Much love to Harley Dad. He's taking that over as well. Both boards. And also he gets put into our big raffle going down tomorrow. We should be going live tomorrow right here in MCF, where you have the star level. You better get into the star level if you want to be in this raffle. You can still get into that. As long as it's before the stream tomorrow, you're in. Same thing with the over everything. If you want to get back in the over everything or jump in that over everything membership level, you got to get in it before tomorrow when we do our stream, because once we go there, that's it. We lock it in. The over everything side, by the way, you get 2 raffle entries. Star level, you get 1. But wait, there's more. Because Harley Dad's the big winner for this week, this new week. He is part of the March Madness. He's part of the March raffle. Because you can see there in green, the weekly winners get bonus entries in. He took over not just Cash App, the main board, which is the sponsor of the week. Same thing happened with McLovin last week. Same thing happened with Jeremy Bramlett the week before that. And the same thing happened with Deadfool the week before that. And those are the 4 new names, along with the star and over everything levels that will be in this raffle coming around the corner here tomorrow night at the end of our stream. So good luck to Harley Dad, Jeremy Bramlett, Deadfool, and McLovin. You 4 are added to the list with the star and over everything level members as well. That's tomorrow right here in MCF, and congrats to the new winners. Thank you guys to the champions who represented the boards this entire week. And again, we'll be kicking off a new week tomorrow. News, info, updates on our Cowboys, baby. Let me hear who's in the house saying goodnight as we do the final shout-outs with a comment or two. And then we're saying peace out.
Of course.
To the week and the month.
Shout out again to Seabass.
Yeah.
Much love.
Seabass.
The man, Mike Aldana.
Who will be on the show. I know
yes,
Seabass will
he'll be appearing on MCF here shortly.
He was an over everything member. Yeah, right. He was over everything member, and he is owed an over everything show opinion here. He'll be on here for our entire show very soon.
Shout out Pioneer, much love. Tyrone Church representing.
Yeah, T Church.
We have Mike Aldana, of course. So let me see who else is here. No, just trying to make sure I don't miss out on anybody. Thomas Garrett, the Superior. Garrett. Oh, cool. Hello and hi. Eastside Herald, what's up? Even you.
Eastside.
Let me see here.
Ruined the vibe.
A big mahalo to Mark Hovsepian, of course.
Yeah. Much love to him. Came in 5th on the board this week.
Griff 181. So, let me see here. Tyrone Church, of course. Let me see. Stephen White representing. Skeptical fan, always staying skeptical. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Leaside Herald again. Let me see. Kathy Martis. Yeah, that's as far back as it lets me go there, at least. So, with that said, guys, if I'm not mistaken, that does bring us to the end of at least our portion of tonight's stream.
And you just never know when you need to stop by over on MCF After Dark. You just never know when that happens. It could be tonight. It might not be tonight. I don't know if it's gonna happen. If it happens, it's gonna be a lot. Yesterday we went almost for 5 hours. I know we didn't have a stream here because there was no real news, but almost 5 hours. So yeah, if we go tonight, it'll be a lot shorter. It'll be like 2 hours. A little overtime party hangout over on MCF After Dark. But just keep that in mind. You see the eyes. Go follow him over there. Go search MCF After Dark if you want to be part of the fun. And we shall see what happens. A little music, a couple drinks, a little partying for a couple hours. Because I'll have insomnia, baby. And I don't fall asleep like you fall asleep. Yeah. Either way, guys, thank you all for being here with us. Shout everybody out. Appreciate the people who dropped the love as well. Dwayne Broussard and Marco Sepian. People who dropped the love on the, on the off nights as well. Cannot do this without your guys' love and support. Hopefully everyone had a great and happy Easter. And, kick off a new week starting tomorrow. Much love to those that held the crown and have the crown now as you go forward to a new week. But, baby, before we can get out of here, why don't you let everybody know why we do this on the nightly?
It's that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything.
Win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly, right here on this channel. We always, no matter what happens, we rep that star over everything. And it's almost 7 years here on MCF on YouTube. 7 years on MyCowboysFamily, almost there, guys. Never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, go Cowboys! Let's get that 6 and beyond sooner than later, please. Before the Niners, please. Before the Eagles get any more, please. Thank you all for dropping your knowledge in the chat all night long. All night. Appreciate you guys. Cannot do it without you all. Also, if you're watching the replay, leave your comments down below if you'd like. I'll check them out. Hit the like, the love, or response on sometimes. But there's a lot of comments sometimes. But I will always take a look at every comment, so do that too. Big shout out to those that repped the boards this past week and took over the boards. Those that dropped the love from above as well, not just tonight, but the entire week, the month. As we enter a new month here, a new week, guys, thank you for the drops of love, donations through all the different facets in the After Dark. Cannot do what we do here for as long as we do it without your love and support on that side as well. So thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts. On that note, for the month of March and into a new month here in April, remember, beware of those April Fool's jokes on the Cowboys. They'll be having a lot of fake stories tomorrow. I warned you. But guys, here on MCF, as we clock out and drop out for the night, for the month, for the week, if we can relock and reload for a whole new month and a whole new week tomorrow, let them know what we got to do first here on My Cowboys Family before we drop out of here for the night.
We got to drop the beat.
Oh, yeah, that beat's been dropped. It's a wrap here on MCF. And that's it. For the week, for the month of March, we'll be seeing it in 2025, I guess. Hopefully, with that 6th in our hand. We'll see. Again, it was another one, guys. A fun night here. I see you, El Cool. I see you, Tyrone Church. I see you, After Dark. Mike Aldana, Seabass. Everybody else in the house. Thank you all for being here with us. Hope you enjoyed our wrap-up of the last 3 nights of Cowboy news, info, and updates right here on another MCF Cowboys chat. Yes, Zeke. Is he coming on board? You know how we feel about that. Not the best move, but it's only we don't got many moves to make there. Mazi, we gotta build Mazi back up. And that's the word. That's at least good news. Dak enjoying Easter with his newborn, and Jerry crying over, we're not making more money? I don't know. He better open his eyes, though, and see we're running out of options. Here in MCF, we always got our eyes open. It's about that navy blue, that silver too, and that beautiful star over everything. Never, ever forget the number one thing right here on My Cowboys Family. Much love to all you in the house, even the haters in the back. Appreciate you all here. Don't forget to hit that like button. Help the analytics on our streams and on our channel. Hit that like. Also subscribe to the channel and keep building past 34 on to 35, hopefully, and beyond. 35,000 subscribers, family members. Thank you all. Hit that notification bell. Turn on to all videos. Follow us on Twitter and X and all social media at My Cowboys Family. We got Discord. The rest of the information is all in our description down below. So check it out. Appreciate you all. Hope you had a great Easter. Have a great rest of your kickoff of your week tomorrow. Great night. See you tomorrow. And as always, never ever forget, Go Cowboys!
Monk on the beat. Monk on the beat.